All right, what's up everyone? I am glad people are watching my videos and that helps me a lot. But there are some things you could do to help me more if you are willing to. You can hit the subscribe button, like the video, and share it so that many other curious minds will see it. So let's get straight into the new video I made for you guys. Have you ever heard about children being kidnapped or going missing? Well, I asked you that because today I will inject some fear into you with the case of the 3-year-old Madeleine McCann, who was never found again after disappearing from her bed in a holiday apartment in Praia da Luz, Lagos, Portugal, on the evening of 3rd May 2007. Telegraph described her case as the most heavily reported missing person in modern history. Madeleine's whereabouts remain unknown, although German prosecutors believe she is dead. She was born on the 12th of May 2003 in Leicester, Leicestershire. England, she'd been missing for 17 years, 8 months and 2 days, which would make her 21 years old, I think. I'm not sure. Her parents, who are Jerry McCann and Kate McCann, and her 2-year-old twin siblings were at the holiday apartment with of family friends, which also brought their children. The blonde-haired girl, Madeleine, who also had a left eye that was blue and green, and the right eye was green with a brown spot on the iris. But she also had and has, I guess, small brown spot on her left leg. So as I was saying, this blonde-haired girl and her sister were both sleeping in their beds by 20:30 in the ground floor apartment, while their parents dined with the family friends in a restaurant 55 meters, which is 180 feet away. The parents checked on the children throughout the evening until Kate discovered Madeleine was missing at 2200 hours. Over the following weeks, particularly after misinterpreting a British DNA analysis, the Portuguese police came to believe that Madeleine had died in an accident in the apartment and her parents had covered it up. The McCanns were given the status in September 2007, which was lifted when Portugal's Attorney General archived the case in July 2008 for lack of evidence. But this is a crazy theory because if you think about it, it could be the perfect plan to get rid of another person they need to feed. However, they didn't have to be worried about such things because Jerry McCann worked as a cardiologist and Kate McCann was a general practitioner, which are both well-paying professions. So if you still believe in this theory, tell me why in the comments. Madeleine's parents continued the investigation using private detectives until Scotland Yard opened its own inquiry, Operation Grange, in 2011. The senior investigating officer announced that he was treating the disappearance as a criminal act by a stranger, most likely a planned abduction or burglary gone wrong. In 2013, Scotland Yard released e-fit images of men they wanted to trace, including one of a man seen carrying a child toward the beach on the night Madeleine vanished. Shortly after this, Portuguese police reopened their inquiry. Operation Grange was scaled back in 2015, but the remaining detectives continued to pursue a small number of inquiries described in April 2017 as significant. In 2020, German authorities declared Christian Bruckner their prime suspect for the abduction and murder of McCann, but charges have yet to be formalized. Madeleine's disappearance attracted sustained press coverage both in the UK and internationally, reminiscent of the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, in 1997. Her parents were subjected to intense scrutiny and baseless allegations of involvement in her death, particularly in the tabloid press and on Twitter. In 2008, they and their traveling companions received damages and apologies from Express newspapers, and in 2011, the McCanns testified before the Leveson inquiry into British press misconduct, lending support to those arguing for tighter press regulation. So as I said before, she was born in Leicester and lived with her family in Rothley, Leicestershire. At her parents' request, she was made a ward of court in England shortly after the disappearance, which gave the court statutory powers to act on her behalf. Police described Madeleine as blonde-haired with blue-green eyes, a small brown spot on her left calf, and a distinctive dark strip on the iris of her right eye. In 2009, the McCanns released age-progressed images of how she may have looked at age 6, and in 2012, Scotland Yard commissioned one of her at age 9. Kate and Jerry McCann, Madeleine's parents, are both physicians and practicing Roman Catholics. Kate Marie McCann, née Healy, born 1968, Huyton, near Liverpool, attended All Saints School in Anfield, then Notre Dame High School in Everton Valley, graduating in 1992 with a degree in medicine from the University of Dundee, She moved briefly into obstetrics and gynecology, then anesthetics, and finally general practice. Gerald Patrick McCann, born 1968 in Glasgow, attended Holyrood RC Secondary School before graduating from the University of Glasgow with a BSc in Physiology Sports Science in 1989. In 1992, he qualified in medicine and in 2002 obtained his MD, also from Glasgow. Since 2005, he has been a consultant cardiologist at Glenfield Hospital, Leicester. The McCanns met in 1993 in Glasgow and were married in 1998. Madeleine was born in 2003, and the twins, a boy and a girl, in 2005. Tapas 7. The McCanns were on holiday with 7 friends and 8 children in all, including the McCanns 3. The 9 adults dined together most evenings at 20:30 in the resort's tapas restaurant, as a result of which the media dubbed the friends the Tapas 7. The report of one of the group, Jane Tanner, that she saw a man carry a child away from the resort 45 minutes before Madeleine was reported missing, became one of the most discussed aspects of the case. Resort. The McCanns arrived on 28 April 2007 for their 7-night spring break in Praia da Luz, a village in Portugal's Algarve region with a population of 1,000, known as Little Britain because of the concentration of British homeowners and holidaymakers. They had booked through the British holiday company Mark Warner Limited and were placed in 5 Rua Dr. Agostinho da Silva, an apartment owned by a retired teacher from Liverpool, one of several privately owned properties the company rented. 5A was a 2-bedroom ground floor apartment in the 5th block of a group of apartments known as Waterside Village, which lay on the perimeter of part of Mark Warner's Ocean Club Resort. Matthew and Rachel Oldfield were next door in 5B, Jane Tanner and Russell O'Brien in 5D, and the Paynes and Diane Webster on the first floor. Located on the corner of Rua Dr. Agostinho da Silva and Rua Dr. Francisco Gentil Martins, 5A was accessible to the public from 2 sides. Sliding glass patio doors in the living room at the back overlooked the Ocean Club's pool, tennis courts, tapas restaurant, and bar. The patio doors could be accessed via a public street, Rua Dr. Francisco Gentil Martins, where a small gate and set of steps led to 5A's balcony and living room. 5A's front door was on the opposite side of the block from the Ocean Club, on Rua Dr. Agostinho da Silva. The McCanns' children slept in a bedroom next to the front door, which the McCanns kept locked. The bedroom had one waist-high window with curtains and a metal exterior shutter, the latter controlled by a cord inside the window. The McCanns kept the curtains and shutter closed throughout the holiday. The window overlooked a narrow walkway and residence car park, which was separated from the street by a low wall. Madeleine slept in a single bed next to the bedroom door, on the opposite side of the room from the window. The twins were in travel cots in the middle of the room. There was another single bed underneath the window. How she disappeared. Thursday, 3rd May 2007, was the penultimate day of the family's holiday. Over breakfast, Madeleine asked, "Why didn't you come when my brother and I cried last night?" After the disappearance, her parents wondered whether this meant someone had entered the children's bedroom. Her mother also noticed a large brown stain on Madeleine's pajama top. The children spent the morning in the resort's kids' club, then the family lunched at their apartment before heading to the pool. Kate took the last known photograph of Madeleine at 2:29 that afternoon, sitting by the pool next to her father and 2-year-old sister. The children returned to the kids' club. Then at 1800, their mother took them back to 5A, while their father went for a tennis lesson. The McCanns put the children to bed at around 1900 hours. Madeleine was left asleep in short-sleeved, pink and white Marks and Spencer's Eeyore pajamas. Next to her, comfort blanket and a soft toy, Cuddle Cat. 20:30 at Tapas Restaurant. At 20:30, the parents left 5A to dine with their friends in the Ocean Club's open-air tapas restaurant, located on the other side of the pool. 5A lay about 55 meters, which is again 180 feet from the restaurant as the crow flies, but getting to the restaurant involved walking along a public street to reach the doors of the Ocean Club Resort, then walking through the resort to the other side of the pool, a distance of about 82 meters, which is 295 feet. The top of the apartment was visible from the tapas restaurant, but not the doors. The top of the apartment was visible from the tapas restaurant, not the doors. The patio doors could be locked only from the inside, so the McCanns left them closed but unlocked, with the curtains drawn, so they could let themselves in that way when checking on the children. There was a child safety gate at the top of the steps from the patio and a low gate at the bottom, which led to the street. The resort staff had left a note in a message book at the swimming pool reception area asking that the same table, which overlooked the apartments, be block booked for 2030 for the McCanns and friends every evening for the last 4 evenings of the holiday. The message said the group's children were asleep in the apartments. Kate believes the abductor may have seen the note. The McCanns and their friends left the restaurant roughly every half hour to check on their children. Jerry carried out the first check on 5A at around 21:05. The children were asleep and all was well, except that he recalled having left the children's bedroom door slightly ajar, and now it stood almost wide open. He pulled it nearly closed again before returning to the restaurant. The sighting by Jane Tanner, one of the top 7, of a man carrying a child that night became an important part of the early investigation. Tanner had left the restaurant just after 2100 to check on her own daughter, passing Jerry on Rua Dr. Francisco Gentil Martins on his way back to the restaurant from his 21:05 check. He had stopped to chat to a British holidaymaker, but neither man recalled having seen Tanner. This puzzled the Portuguese police, given how narrow the street was, and led them to accuse Tanner of having invented the sighting. Tanner told the police that at around 21:15, she had noticed a man carrying a young child walk across the junction of Rua Dr. Francisco Gentil Martins and Rua Dr. Agostinho da Silva, just ahead of her. He was not far from Madeleine's bedroom, heading east, away from the front of apartment 5A. In the early days of the investigation, the direction in which he was walking was thought to be important because he was moving toward the home of Robert Murat, the 33-year-old British-Portuguese man who lived near 5A and who became the case's first suspect. Here's an artist impression of the man Tanner saw. The child in the man's arms was wearing light-colored pink pajamas with a floral pattern and cuffs on the legs, similar to Madeleine's. Tanner described the man as white, dark-haired, 5'7" or 1.70 meters tall, of Southern European or Mediterranean appearance, 35 to 40 years old, wearing gold or beige trousers and a dark jacket, and said he did not look like a tourist. According to Kate, Tanner passed the information to Portuguese police as soon as Madeleine was reported missing, but they did not pass the description to the media until 25th May. Madeleine's fund hired a forensic artist to create an image of the man, which was released in October 2007. The sighting became important because it offered investigators a time frame for the abduction, but Scotland Yard came to view it as a red herring. In October 2013, they said that a British holidaymaker had been identified as the man Tanner had seen. He had been returning to his apartment after collecting his daughter from the Ocean Club night creche. Scotland Yard took photographs of the man wearing the same or similar clothes to the ones he was wearing on the night, and standing in a pose similar to the one Tanner reported. The pajamas his daughter had been wearing also matched Tanner's report. Operation Grange's lead detective, Detective Chief Inspector Andy Redwood, said they were almost certain the Tanner sighting was not related to the abduction. Now, after we've discussed what Tanner has seen, we need to discuss what Smith has seen. The rejection of the Tanner sighting as crucial to the timeline allowed investigators to focus on another sighting of a man carrying a child on the night of Madeleine's disappearance. This one reported to Portuguese police on 26 May 2007 by Martin and Mary Smith, who had been in Praia da Luz on holiday from Ireland. Scotland Yard concluded in 2013 that the Smith sighting offered the approximate time of Madeleine's kidnapping. The Smiths saw the man at around 10 p.m. on Rua da Escola Primaria, 500 yards or 460 meters from the McCann's apartment, walking away from the Ocean Club and towards Rua 25 de Abril and the beach. He was carrying a girl aged 3 to 4 years. She had blonde hair and pale skin, was wearing light-colored pajamas, and was barefoot. The man was mid-30s, 5'7" to 5'9", or 1.70 to 1.75 meters, slim to normal build, with short brown hair, wearing cream or beige trousers. He did not look like a tourist, according to the Smiths, and had seemed uncomfortable carrying the child. E-fits based on the Smiths' testimony were first created in 2008 by Oakley International, private investigators hired by the McCann's, and were publicized in 2013 by Scotland Yard on the BBC program Crime Watch. At 2200 hours, she was reported missing. Kate had intended to check on the children at 21:30, but Matthew Oldfield, one of the Tapas 7, offered to do it when he checked on his own children in the apartment next door to 5A. He noticed that the McCann's children's bedroom door was wide open, but after hearing no noise, he left 5A without looking far enough into the bedroom to see whether Madeleine was there. He could not recall whether the bedroom window and its exterior shutter were open at this point. Early on in the investigation, Portuguese police accused Oldfield of involvement because he had volunteered to do the check, suggesting to them that he had handed Madeleine to someone through the bedroom window. Well, I think that if he had looked properly in the bedroom, maybe he could have been the hero that saved the day, but he didn't. Going on with the story, we know that Kate made her own check of 5A at around 2200. However, Scotland Yard stated in 2013 that Madeleine was probably taken moments before this. So like I said, maybe if the worker had looked properly in the bedroom, he could have seen the kidnapper. So, Kate recalled entering the apartment through the unlocked patio doors at the back and noticing that the children's bedroom door was wide open. When she tried to close the door, it slammed shut as though there was a draft, which is when she saw that the bedroom window and its shutter were open. Madeleine's cuddle cat and blanket were still on the bed, but Madeleine was gone. After briefly searching the apartment, Kate ran back towards the restaurant screaming, "Madeleine's gone! Someone's taken her!" At around 22:10, Jerry sent Matthew Oldfield to ask the resort's reception desk to call the police. And at 22:30, the resort activated its missing child search protocol. 60 staff and guests searched until 4:30, at first assuming that Madeleine had wandered off. One of them told Channel 4's dispatches that, from one end of Praia da Luz to the other, searchers calling Madeleine's name could be heard. 2 officers from the Gendarmerie, the Guarda Nacional Republicana, GNR, arrived at the resort at 23:10 from Lagos, 5 miles, 8 kilometers away. At midnight, after briefly searching, they alerted the criminal police, the Policia Judiciaria, PJ, in nearby Portimão. Kate recounted that the PJ arrived just after 1 a.m. According to the PJ, they arrived within 10 minutes of being alerted. At 2 a.m., 2 patrol dogs were brought to the resort, and at 8 a.m., 4 search and rescue dogs. Police officers had their leave canceled and started searching waterways, wells, caves, sewers, and ruins around Praia da Luz. Inspector Gonçalo Amaral, head of the PJ in Portimão, became the inquiry's coordinator. It was widely acknowledged that mistakes were made during the so-called golden hours soon after the disappearance. Neither border nor marine police were given descriptions of Madeleine for many hours, and officers did not do house-to-house searches. According to Kate, roadblocks were first put in place at 10 o'clock the next morning. Police did not request motorway surveillance pictures of vehicles leaving Praia da Luz the night of the disappearance, or of the road between Lagos and Villarreal de Santo Antonio on the Spanish border. Euroscut, the company that monitors the road, said they were not approached for information. It took Interpol 5 days to issue a global missing person alert. Not everyone in the resort at the time was interviewed. Holidaymakers later contacted the British police to say that no one had spoken. This is the end of this video, but not the end of the case, because I will post episode 2 a week later, or even sooner maybe. It's taking too long to edit, and tomorrow I have a lot to do. I also want to do the work for my other channel that is in my native language, and I want to stick to a schedule, which is posting a video every week. Sorry I haven't made a long video. See you next week or even sooner. Don't forget to subscribe.